Broadcasting live from the MedStar Capitals Iceplex in Arlington. Marek along with you for the sheet for this Monday, October the 20th. And Zach, I'm a big shot now, eh? Me and Bruce Bouchard, new podcast coming up. Sat down with Alexander Ovechkin today. Spencer Carbery is going to stop by here in a couple of moments. It's hitting home runs to kick off the week, bud. It's hitting home runs.
Yeah. You're out at Capitals games, you're out in Washington, you got a nice setup behind you. These guys are rolling out the red carpet. I heard they've got a whole new set in front of you right now just for you too. Like a whole brand new setup. I wish you could see it. It's cameras and everything.
Yeah, it's like literally it's podcast in a suitcase. You can take this. I can't explain any of this. But it looks fantastic. I'm scared to touch any of it because you know me, I'll touch one thing and then mess up the entire show. So I'm just going to hands off on this one here. But Huey, great job. And to everyone here at Monumental, thanks so much for the accommodations and for setting everything up. And we do have a big announcement coming up at the bottom of the hour. But before that, Monumental putting out the announcement that Gabby and I, Bruce Bouchard and I will be doing a weekly video podcast for Monumental and available wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are wondering, has no effect. Like the sheet is still rocking 5 days a week. We're not half milers like that morning show. We don't do 4, we do 5 here on the program. I hope Johnny and Colby are listening right now. John Forsland on. John Forsland on this morning. I'm gonna listen to that one on my way to the airport after this program today. These suddenly red hot Seattle Kraken. By the way, did you see the news about Berkeley Catton? Berkeley Catton making his NHL debut for the Seattle Kraken against the Philadelphia Flyers. So that's an exciting story there. We have a lot to get to on the program today, and a special guest will be here in about 10 minutes' time. So we'll remind you once again, and always do to kick off the program, the Blueprint is powered by FanDuel. Download the app today and play your game. Thanks to our friends and partners at FanDuel. Coming up on the show today, you will hear from and see, if you're watching on YouTube, Spencer Carbery, the head coach of the Washington Capitals, defending Jack Adams Trophy winner. The What Chaos crew will stop by at the bottom of the hour. We will talk plenty about Tom Wilson and the hit yesterday on Philip Hedl. We'll talk about the Washington Capitals with Spencer Carbery coming up in a couple of seconds. An announcement at the bottom of the hour, and I don't know if you have a thought on this one yourself. What's going on with the offense and the Edmonton Oilers? This was supposed to be the high-flying Oilers. We're never going to have an NHL that's like the 80s again with Edmonton, where when you scored on the Edmonton Oilers in the 80s, they got personally offended that you would have the nerve to score on them. Like, that's always how I felt about that Oilers squad. It's like a team would go up 2 pucks on Edmonton and they would be offended. Paul Coffey, Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Glenn Anderson, Yari Curry, Murderers Row. They would be like, not angry, but like they would be nothing but disdain. And then they put up a 5 spot and the game would be over. But right now it's pop gun offense for the 2-time Stanley Cup finalists here. One of the things we tend to forget is it's 2 teams that go to the final. We always think the Florida Panthers have played so much hockey. Last time I checked, they played against the Edmonton Oilers for 2 years. So a little bit of a hangover to kick off the next season probably shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody. But one thing, I was having a conversation with someone about this over the past couple of days as we're all sort of scrambling and trying to figure out, why this offense has fizzled out. One person said something interesting to me. This is someone from another team who said, and you've heard me talk about this before, he's wondering if the Edmonton Oilers defensemen take too many shots. And they have, because there's 3 Oilers defensemen in the top 15 in the NHL in the shots per 60 stats. Yeah. One of them's Evan Bouchard, but you expect it. I know, listen, by the way, on Evan Bouchard, we've seen this happen to players before, where they feel the weight of the massive contract and the weight of expectation. I'm not going to throw a log on the fire of Evan Bouchard. This guy's too good and he's going to work himself out of it. But nonetheless, so he's in that top 15. Darnell Nurse is in that top 15. And in a weird one, so is Mattias Ekholm. And I say to myself, should Mattias Ekholm be shooting as much as Mattias Ekholm is? I don't have an answer for it. I'm, grabbing at straws here, trying to figure out where it's gone. I'm sure Chris Knobloch's the same way. I don't know if you have a thought on it, like what's happened to the Edmonton Oilers to kick off this season. But if you do, I'm sure everybody in Edmonton would like to hear it, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, this one I actually think people in Edmonton would like to hear, and it's everybody take a breath. Like, we are 5-6 games into the season for most of these teams. You watch, and I'm experiencing it here in Toronto with what happened on Saturday night. Now, granted, I understand a lot of the reaction, and I understand Leafs fans acting the way that they are, or people outside of Edmonton pointing fingers and saying, look, ha, we told you, or look at the issues with this guy or that guy. Everybody take a second here. And it's not to take a shot at the Red Wings or the Kraken, but are they the greatest teams to ever touch the ice? I'm going to go out on a limb, Jeff, and I'm going to say no, but they're on fire right now, and they've started the season hot. Are the Edmonton Oilers going to stink is maybe a strong word, but are they going to play like this all the way through? Again, my answer is no, and, it's a cop-out in a way to say that, but I think water's going to find its level here, whether it's Stu Skinner kind of picking things back up to being at least a regular season guy that we've seen him be, and just at least an average, or Evan Bouchard producing offensively and that team scoring at the rate that we've seen. It's going to figure itself out. Maybe not as good as ever, but I just can't press panic buttons 6-7 games into the season for some of these teams. The barometer for me, which again, I'm learning quickly, pick up some of these media cliches. American Thanksgiving, Jeff. We'll figure it out by then. But let's give it some time.
That does, and always kind of has served as an unofficial cut line for the NHL playoffs. And we'll get there in a second. One of the hot button issues. I'm curious to see and hear Spencer Carbery's thoughts on it. But the Tom Wilson hit on Philip Hedl yesterday. Vancouver Canucks fans are not going to want to hear it, but this was a clean hit, and this was the right call. I like how the officials handled it by making the call, reviewing the hit, and then allowing Tom Wilson to escape. First of all, you feel bad for the player. We all know about the concussion history for Philip Hedl. Not that Tom Wilson or anyone else on the ice needs to take that into account before delivering a hit like that. I've always been of the mind that even, if there's a concussion history with Philip Hedl, if you're dressing, everyone on the other team has, if you're putting a player in the lineup, you have to assume health, right? You can't assume that a player is injured, and you can't look at a player's past and pull up. If the coach is putting that player on the ice, you assume health. But the other part of this one too is, you really have to slice a fine hair to say that this one was late. Right, this one was, I think it was 0.5 of a second. I think the normal sort of barometer is 0.8. Look, Tom Wilson is a big, strong player who can hurt you. Last time I checked, you were still allowed to hit like that in the NHL. The problem is, as much as teams want that in their lineup, it's really hard to find. And when you do have it, you hold on to it like it's sacred, right? How many teams have called for Tom Wilson? Tons of teams have had. Ryan Reeves with the great. You remember the Ryan Reeves line when he was a free agent and was being interviewed by a number of teams, and he talked to New York. You know the line?
No, what was that?
So, in his discussions with New York, I think the I don't know if it was his opening line, but at some part of the conversation, Ryan Reeves said to the New York Rangers, "You have a Tom Wilson problem, and I am the solution to your Tom Wilson problem," in one of the great lines from Ryan Reeves, who's got a career of delivering great lines. You have a Tom Wilson problem. Last night, the Vancouver Canucks had a Tom Wilson problem with that hit on Hedl. He has been placed, by the way, on IR, along with Jonathan Lekkerimäki, who got tangled up with Matt Roy at the blue line. That one didn't look good. First of all, good on him for finishing his shift and getting the puck out, because when he went down on his shoulder and he came back up, right away you're thinking, okay, is it shoulder? Is it collarbone? Is it a combination of both? It didn't look good, but he finished the play and got the puck out of the zone nonetheless. Those two players are on IR right now for the Vancouver Canucks. You have a thought on the Tom Wilson incident, if we can even call it an incident, from last night?
Pretty much on the same page as you. I would be a little bit more lenient to calling it interference because I would say, yeah, it's like pretty much on the border of being late. I think the other thing, we look at the 0.8 seconds. The other one, it's like 2 strides after the puck is gone. I think that was essentially met by Hedel. But to say it's anything beyond that, I strongly disagree with. This is not a fine, a suspension, a 5-minute, nothing. I think interference is where it's at. I don't think, like, to give Wilson the credit on this, where this is where it's hard in real time. It's a fast-paced game. Like, that's the inherent nature of hockey. It's not predatory. He's coming across to finish his hit. Could you say it was late? I personally wouldn't disagree with somebody who says it is. You sitting here telling me right now you don't think it was, I'm not really going to sit here and argue with you. Like, it's just borderline. And if a ref's watching that in real time, I got no issue with them calling it what they did and reviewing it. I think that's the right way. The only thing I wanted to point out here, there was a discussion this morning on Morning Cup of Hockey between the guys. It was I don't know if you were able to, if you're going to be able to catch up on this one. It's it's somewhat heated one. Surprise, surprise.
Okay. I'm going to listen on the way to the airport this afternoon.
They were arguing the hit. I think that Laz made a good point. There's a very big distinction between dirty and a penalty. I think that one could have been called a penalty. I think there is 0% of that hit that is dirty. I think that they don't have to be the same. It's not a dirty hit, but it could have been a penalty. And I think that that's fair to say, but there was a long argument on that one this morning. Dirty versus penalty and why it wasn't called. I thought it was funny.
You know what's not talked about a lot around hits like that? Just how hard they are to make. And because your margin for error is so slim. Like, does Wilson catch him in the head? No. But, again, bodies moving in concert with one another, a game moving really fast. If Wilson doesn't hit him the way that he did, it could have been even more disastrous for Filip Hedel. Like, if anything, and man, are Vancouver Canucks fans not going to want to hear this one. If anything, Tom Wilson actually, once you're committed to the hit, Tom Wilson kind of took care of Hedel in some ways. There was nothing, because once upon a time, there was a younger Tom Wilson that just would have blown him up. But he executed like a near perfect hit on Hedel last night or yesterday afternoon. I don't know. We all hope that he's okay. We don't know if it's a concussion. We all know the concussion history. He's on IR now. I was having a conversation with someone this morning who said, if it is a concussion, do you start to have the conversation about how long can you keep doing this? Like at what point? Because you know what it's like. I mean, you played like you're peeling the onion. And are we at that point now for Filip Hedel, as awful as that sounds? You hope he's okay. You hope it's not a concussion. But if it is it time to have the big conversation? I don't know.
Yeah. I hope not. Really talented player, and we saw him start the season pretty strong here at Vancouver. Looked like he had a pretty good preseason there, but there becomes a point. You've seen it with not just head injuries, and it happens a lot. Football is one of the sports you see a lot of guys. They'll play and they'll just go out at the top of their game. Like they are peak, but they're like, if I want to have a normal life, this is where I draw the line. And I mean, it's just like you want that best for the health, but part of me just hopes it's not for that point for Hedel, because he is a very talented player and seems to have found a little bit of something there in Vancouver.
One of the things that I and again, you see it every time that there's a hit like this, the conversation about how there's no respect in the game anymore. I think there's more respect in hockey than there's ever been. Like there was a time in the NHL in my lifetime where, I'll be blunt, half the league should have been incarcerated. When you looked at what happened in the league, half the league should have been in jail, Zach. Like right now, there is more respect. And I think a lot of it comes from, players in the Players Association and working out together and all pals and all these types of things. But I find that there's more respect now in the game than there has ever been. And again, as much as Canucks fans might not want to hear it, was it a devastating hit? Yeah. But I would also make the argument it's one of the hardest things to do, and that was kind of respectful too. If you can be committed to making that hit the way that Wilson was, it could have been a disaster, but Wilson, it sounds tasteless if you say took care of Hedl, but really in some ways it could have been so much worse. That was like, if you committed to that hit, that was as near perfect as you're going to get.
No, I 100% understand what you're saying. The follow through, everything, just how he approached it, it was that's the best way that he could have gone about that hit. And obviously crazy considering where we're at with the reaction on this one and the fact that there's people who want him in jail for what he did. But I do agree with you in terms of
you know what, it's for some it's a name bar hit, right? For some it's just a name bar hit, but nonetheless. All right, welcome in our first guest. He is the defending and reigning Jack Adams Trophy winner. He is one of the top coaches in the NHL. He's the head coach of the Washington Capitals. He is Spencer Carbery, who's going to snuggle up to the mic right there, and he joins me now. Spencer, good to see you again. You're well?
Very good, thank you.
3 guesses what we're talking about.
Does it rhyme with or have a number 43 involved with it?
It might. It might have been something that happened in the neutral zone that's got, a certain market in Western Canada pretty hot. I was making the point before he came on about how I see more respect in the game now than ever before, where once upon a time this was like the NHL and hockey in general was the wild, wild west. It's not that way anymore, but every now and then we get a reminder that this is a tough game played by really strong men on skates, and there is still an element of danger. You never want to see a player go off the way that Hedl did yesterday. But I'm curious, and there's a lot to get into from yesterday's game too. How did you see it?
Point number one is exactly what you said, is you never want to see a player being helped off in that situation. So that goes without saying, whether it's an opposing coach, opposing player, Tom Wilson, like these guys are very, very competitive and out there in a physical sport, but no one, and I think more so than ever, the players union and them looking after one another, no one wants to see someone get hurt. The hit to me is clean. And something you said, I remember talking to Willie about, and Willie said this is changing. Willie, a lot of times in games, believe it or not, and I've heard it multiple times, will tell guys when he's coming.
I've heard that about him, yeah.
Yeah, like because of what he's gone through in his past, and now, like this guy, in terms of a man that is just brute force strength built differently. Tom Wilson is, when you see him with his shirt off, you're just like, whoa, this is a massive, massive human. So anything that he hits, there's a lot of force there. Him evolving as a player and looking out for opposing players will tell them heads up when he's coming at times during the year. And so to me, it was a clean check, totally unfortunate. Hedl just sort of isn't looking out of that side, and he's sort of zoned in on just his right side of the ice where it's just unfortunate.
What do you tell because hitting has changed, right? Like you guys can't chase it anymore, right?
Yeah.
What do you tell your players about playing physical and somewhere along the way too? I mean, have this discussion somewhere down the road. Body checking has turned into hitting. I don't know when it happened, but like the idea is, physical contact that produces a change of possession. That's gone now. It's just about crashing bodies. Yeah. How do you talk to your team about hitting?
So we make our players aware in the pre-scout of guys that I'll give you an example. Like when we're going up against a team where there's a physical player on the other team that Kiefer Sherwood has led the league in hits multiple years. We make our players aware of Kiefer Sherwood. Make sure you're aware he's going to finish his checks on the forecheck. Shoulder checks, communication, help each other out. I'll give you an example. So we played the New York Rangers 2 years ago in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Matt Rempe is on the New York Rangers. He was barreling down on a forecheck. Trevor Van Riemsdyk was going back on a puck, and he didn't look. Shoulder check out of his right side. He goes back on a puck, and he takes a heavy, heavy hit from Matt Rempe. Missed the rest, was hurt on the play. And I remember talking to Reamer about it after, and he was like upset with himself because he's like, I don't know why I didn't shoulder check. I knew Rempe was on the ice. I should have double shoulder checked. I just didn't look. And he was And so those are, I'm not given, I'm not trying to bring light of a hard hit and Trevor Van Riemsdyk getting injured. It's just there's physical players in the league that you just need to be aware of, and you need to communicate it. Us as coaches need to lay it out and make sure our players are aware of those types of players and when they'll be on the ice.
It's such a I've been making this point for a while here on this show and elsewhere, that in a league now where everybody can skate, everybody can shoot, everyone can play make, coaches, managers, everybody is saying, what else can you give me?
Yeah.
Like that. Like, do you find that it's as much as hockey is, progressing a certain way as it relates to skill, it's kind of going backwards, and we're almost in this like loop of going forwards and a little bit backwards at the same time.
Well, and you know what I think a lot of that has to do with is our league no different than a lot of different leagues, is a copycat league. So when a team that's very physical,
Panthers, go ahead, say Panthers.
When a physically imposing team, or teams plural, have a lot of success, what do GMs do? What do coaches do? They go, I want to look like that.
Yep.
And they try to replicate that roster, and they try to play the same way. So I think a lot of that is based on who's successful and trying to replicate that.
Are you guilty of that?
A little bit, yeah, no doubt. And but part of that, I mean, I genuinely, to my core, I feel like that, the physicality part of the game is what I believe in. I believe that in the most difficult time of the year against the best teams in the league, that when everybody is skilled and the structure and the coaching and the players sort of match, that physicality can put you over the top. And so I'm a believer in that. And so a lot of the things that the Florida Panthers of the world do, I'm a strong believer in too. And so building your roster that way and playing a similar style is something I believe in.
When you look at your team, I'm always curious about coaches and their non-negotiables, right? Like what do you have for the Washington Capitals in practice, in game? What is a non-negotiable for Spencer Carbery?
There's a decent amount of them, but I would say the one maybe thing from an offensive forward standpoint is all of our players, from Dylan Strome to Alex Ovechkin to Connor McMichael, you name it, has to be willing to go to the hard area of the ice, and that is right on top of the crease, and has to be willing to go there. You cannot be, I'm the perimeter guy for this shift, or I don't go there because I'm 170 pounds. And so we talk about that, work on it. I love to use Connor McMichael as an example because he's not a very physically imposing player. He's not a heavy player. He's a light player, but his willingness to go there scored him 14 goals last year in the National Hockey League right at the net front. Yeah. And he's smart, but he's also willing to go there and willing to, when it's his turn or when it's off the rush or in the offensive zone, he goes to the inside. That is one that I, pay quite attention to, and I'm stressing that quite a bit.
One of my favorite players to talk about, and I almost said low key, but I'm not really low key about this one. I'm just trying to popularize support for a Selke trophy for one of your players. and that's Alexi Protas. And even in yesterday's game, I think it was the first period, high ice in the offensive zone. He makes two great defensive stick plays. Yeah. He shrugged off of Evander Kane to keep the puck hot in the offensive zone. I mean, he's got, I don't know how many defensive touches every game. He can score. We saw that last year. He can move his feet. I know we don't give Selke trophies to wingers anymore in the NHL, but when you look at Protas, do you see a Selke candidate?
I do, because of all the things you just mentioned. Now, I will say this, and Pro would agree with me, because yesterday was probably one of his not so good games, but he does every single game, does things like you just described. His skating ability with his size, with his stick. You mentioned too, I love that you said that, because his stick is so good at, not just because of his size and his length and his reach, because of his brain. He knows what good players are trying to do, so he can read where the next play is. So you mentioned or referenced two plays that he isn't in the lane, but he gets there because he knows what's coming. So those little subtle plays, penalty kill. And the funny thing about him playing center, he actually grew up a centerman. And I've asked him multiple times, Pro, do you ever want to go back to playing center? He goes,
Would you?
He goes, I've had some success as wing. I think it would be hard to go back. He's like, I'm happy being a winger. But to win a Selke trophy, I said, "Hey,
you want to win a Selke, kid? you got to be a center. That's the deal."
And now he's playing power play as well. So now he's increased his minutes a little bit. Now he's playing in every situation for us.
Has anything changed this year? There's the old saying, if you're not hungry, you won't eat. Alexander Ovechkin is still chasing 900, but he's like the greatest goal scorer of all time.
Yeah,
he hit it. Is there anything different about him this year that you can sense, or is it the same Ovi for you?
It's the same Ovi. I think he's the same. I think there's a different feeling around our team and around the chase because what we went through last year was so, it was just every day. It was every day. It was as he inches closer, especially down the last 2 months of the season, it was just every single day. So that has sort of mellowed. But his approach day to day has been very much the same. He still has that enthusiasm and energy every time he comes into the rink, when he's sitting in meetings, when he's in the locker room, when he's on the bench. He's just, that hasn't changed one iota. And even though he hasn't gotten off to the start he got off to last year, the thing that's been encouraging for me is he's still getting in good spots. He's still getting pucks in scoring areas. They're not going in for him right now. Missing camp, I think, hurt him a little bit of not being able to get as many game touches as he would have liked. But he'll get there. He's getting into good spots. He's getting opportunities. They'll start to go in for him.
Who I have a real soft spot in my heart for? Video coaches. Because
you should.
Nobody, like when they get a call, quote unquote, wrong on a review, I can only imagine what's going.
How did you? Do you have our coaches room mic'd or bugged?
I'm just like, oh man, I feel. And you called the video review on the Myers goal yesterday, and I'm just saying to myself, like when the ruling came out, I'm just like, oh.
I know, especially when we get scored on the penalty kill. That that was a tough one because I felt like in the moment we were struggling in the first period, and so there's like multiple things that go into that. We have some set calls that are, even when it's a tough call, they'll tell me that we have a few commands that they'll give me that they're not 100% sure, but they err on the side of challenge or don't challenge. Okay. And then it's on me to decide, where we're at in the game, the score, the flow. And yesterday, I just felt like in the moment at 2-0 with us really struggling with our guys, trying to grasp to something and, pretty like, can I help? Will this spark our group by getting this goal off the board and staying at 1-0? It didn't go our way. We need to get a penalty kill there, and we didn't. So we go down 3-0, still fought our way back in the game, liked our second and third, but it turns out being a big moment in the game. And those are not easy. The challenges are tough, and I never put it on our video coaches. I am never upset if they get it wrong or give me, say challenge it and we're wrong, because I trust them. They do so much research and homework on what the rule is. They watch all the reviews. They do a study in the summer. And so if we're wrong, I know it's coming from a place of being very, very educated with our decision-making process.
And I'm not trying to get you hot water with the officials here. I do want to ask one thing. There's a sort of sing-songy rule that officials always, whenever I bring up goalie interference, they always remind me, if you're in the blue, that's on you. Yeah. If you're in the blue, that's on you. If you're in the white, that's all right. I find that as much as, and media were guilty of it as well too, as much as people look at goalie interference and say, I don't even know what goalie interference is anymore, I find it to be one of the most consistently correct calls that we have in the game right now. It's never going to be 100%.
Yeah.
But how do you see goalie interference calls? Do you have a real handle on it?
I do with what you're describing. Where the gray gets is, for me, is the force at which someone was pushed, or that's where it gets very dicey. So I'll give you an example. And this is the blue and the paint is a great point that you make. So the other night there was a goal scored by Florida. Jake Allen was in the crease. They Paul Maurice challenges. They call it no goal on the ice. Paul Maurice challenges. They keep it at no goal. And you watch that replay, and his butt is in that crease. And Jake Allen does a really good job. He comes out. That's his space. No goal. So by the letter of the law, I agree. I'm like, that's now here's where it gets a little bit weird. Our goalies play deeper than Jake Allen. So players can go right inside of there, and Logan and Chucky, and this is what we've talked as a staff about and with our goalie coach, is like, do we tell Logan and Chuck to play a different style?
Yes. Yeah, Carey, can I pause for one second? The master of what you're talking about, nobody did it better than Carey Price.
Of like going out
getting
and
to position to get the call.
Yeah.
He was the finest.
So what I get pushed back, because I don't try to, I think this is a goalie coach and their decision. When a head coach that has limited knowledge on the goalie position starts to tell them what to do in a game, I'm like, I'm walking a slippery slope. But what I say is exactly that, like, get out there. But what our department sort of challenges back is, do you want our goalies to change their style that's gotten them to where they are? And I'm like, no, but can we find, well, what if they go out and challenge and then it ends up being a backdoor pass and they get, so but I look at our guys and there's someone in the crease. Like, we've been scored on a couple times this year with a guy in the crease where our goalie just doesn't go out and make contact. He just plays back in the crease, and they're like, that's a good goal. A guy was in the crease, but he had no impact on the goalie playing his position. That's and then just the force thing. That's the only time where it gets like, did he push? How hard was his stick pushing? Did the defenseman shove him in? That's a very arbitrary. You can't measure that by film.
Well, the one thing that we all have to understand is, and my last physics class was grade 11, but watching hockey, I'm learning now that gravity is heavier when you put blue paint on ice. I don't know what it is, but these big, strong hockey players, when their skate touches blue ice, I don't. The gravity just drags them down.
It's slippery in there.
Do you have an explanation for this phenomenon?
It gets very slippery there too. People are falling, diving. Like, I don't know how that happens.
I don't know how that happens. Big, strong, high. They stand up and fight checks all through it, but put some blue paint on the ice. I want to ask you about the Jack Adams real quick. I only got a couple of minutes left here with you. Why do you think you?
Oh, I still pinch myself every day. I don't know the answer to that. I do not know.
I mean, what happened was like remarkable. Like, you must take some pride in that. I know you don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm like all about yourself, but it looked like it early, and you wrote it all the way. And it was this one was a no doubter.
I honestly like, still to this day, I will say it to the day I die. That was a special team, and everything just seemed to click for our group last year. And whether it was goaltending or the new additions or Pierre-Luc Dubois or Jacob Chikrin or Ovi's Chase, like everything, it just felt like one of those years. So I know it's a reflection on our staff and our organization, but to win that award, I just felt like our whole, everybody had it, from our general manager to all of our players just had really, really successful years. So I, earn an award as a product of that.
I always think of whether it's awards and championships and these types of things. Rick Rubin, the legendary music producer, would always say, no one achieves anything on their own. Everything is a collaboration.
100%.
You might be the one there with your name on it.
Yeah.
But like, it's a collaboration. It's sitting on the shoulders of those that came before.
I could not agree more. With that. And I will be forever grateful. And I let them know frequently this summer how grateful I was for every single person inside of our organization, because that's the reason that my name's on that trophy.
Okay. Last one for you. How good is this team, or how good can this team be The Metropolitan's a more competitive division.
Yeah.
And don't look now, but Carolina looks like they're playing hockey in January.
Yeah.
They have hit a stride early.
Yeah. New York, I thought, looked really good in the game we played against them. Philly's playing well. Pittsburgh's playing well. Yeah, I honestly don't see it I know, like, it's the media's job to break down divisions, who looks strong, who looks weak. Like, I genuinely believe that this league, every single night, it is hard to win in the National Hockey League. Like, the parity has never, in my opinion, been at a higher level than it is now. And so whoever it is in your division, out of conference, whether you're going to a non-playoff team, like, it is a difficult night every night, home, road, to get 2 points. And so the original, like, of us, where are we? I believe we have an opportunity, and we have a team that can take that next step to become a true Stanley Cup contender. I do believe that. We need to get a little bit better. Like, I think last year we took a really big step. A lot of things went our way. We shot at a high percentage. We got comeback wins, led the league, 23 of them. Can you replicate that? So I know all the, outside noise. Losing in the second round, Carolina handled us pretty handily. So to me, we need to take another step. And if we do that, we can get into that conversation of being a quote unquote true Stanley Cup contender, a team that can fight for it.
Okay, last one, I lied. Who's the player we're all sleeping on in the media where you look like, oh, why aren't they talking more about that guy?
Oh, on our team.
Yep.
I'm going to go to someone that you all know, but even at his age and where he's at in his career, I think he just flies under the radar and goes very, very underrated. And I was a little bit disappointed that he wasn't invited to the Team USA, John Carlson. Mm-hmm. John Carlson, just a guy that has done it for so long. And now his role has evolved a little bit, where he was known for so many years as the power play quarterback of the lethal Washington Capitals power play with Backstrom, Ovi, Oshie, and Kuznetsov. And now he's like this two-way, can play against other teams' top lines at his age, and first unit penalty kill for us. So he does a lot of things now that might not show up on the box score, but we appreciate as a team and see them every day.
And we appreciate you for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Spencer, thanks so much. Continued success.
Anytime. Thank you.
Good luck on the challenges.
Appreciate it.
All right. There he is. Spencer Carbery is the head coach of the Washington Capitals, one of the top teams, again, in the National Hockey League. Just coming off a 4-game winning streak after dropping one yesterday, though, to the Vancouver Canucks here in Washington. Coming up, here we go. We got the What Chaos guys here standing by. But first, before we get there, this segment is a presentation of Prime Monday Night Hockey. Prime Monday Night Hockey streams all national regular season Monday night NHL games on Prime Video in Canada and is available free to Prime members in Canada. Stream Prime Monday Night Hockey exclusively on Prime Video and experience thrilling goals and dramatic plays from the NHL. Monday nights are hockey nights. Don't miss a moment of action. Coming up tonight, Monday, October 20th, the Sabres are in Montreal to take on the Habs. Whenever I see Sabres and Montreal Canadiens, and this is just my age, I think of the old Adams division. And man, is Montreal destination TV for hockey fans right now. That team is flat out fun. And don't look now, but the Buffalo Sabres have actually won a couple of games in a row. We'll see what that all means. Check out the link in our description for the Prime Monday Night Hockey schedule on Prime Video, or go to primevideo.com/NHL. Also on Prime Video, Faceoff Inside the NHL Season 2. Subscribe with a 30-day free trial to Prime Video to watch Monday Night Hockey and the new season of Faceoff. Download the app or go to primevideo.com. Big announcement day around the What Chaos guys with the coolest logo in the world. That is the dog on the hunt, the Zamboni. Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean from What Chaos, who now join the mix here at Daily Faceoff /TNN. Join me now. Gentlemen, who wants the honors of explaining the reasoning behind coming aboard?
I mean, it could be Pete, it could be Jay, it could be any of us. Like, we've just been mutual fans and friends forever. And honestly, you're a big part of it too. Like, all of our favorite shows are on the Nation Network. So when we could go there, we were like, we have to. It's the best.
Yeah, it makes sense for us from like we love the guys there, love the content. We believe in the vision. Like this, I feel like the Nation and Daily Faceoff, like when you think about new media and where it's kind of heading, and that's where we want to be. We love you guys, love you, love Jay, love everybody, Tyler, all those guys. So very, very excited.
It's listen, we're thrilled to have you. I think I speak on behalf of everybody here when the sort of whispers started that this actually had a shot of happening. I think everyone got pretty pumped up about it. So Bean, here's my question. When do you move to Edmonton?
Oh, I mean, Sean and Pete saw me. We were in Edmonton last year, and my lovely girlfriend was with me, and I was like, look at these houses. We could have a house here. Come on. And that's not to blame, that's not to make her the reason that I don't live in Edmonton right now. Honestly, this one's probably the reason why I don't live in Edmonton right now, because we need to do the show from the same place. And I think Western Canada, I think people from Vancouver and Calgary would find their way over there and get their hands on Pete, and it would not be a good scene for him, particularly Vancouver.
You know what this is? This is gonna when a company makes moves like this, it gives everybody a lift, and it forces everybody to take their game up too. And Pete, speaking personally for me, I have someone else here now swimming in these waters, and I need to up my tattoo game.
Yeah, you do. And you said last season, I think, that you were thinking about getting the Zamboni dog. Well, we have a brand new Zamboni dog logo. Actually, I can't say that. I can't say the Z word. It is a hockey truck dog that we are. It's a brand new version, so you can get that one. It's good thing you didn't get the other one, the OG. You can get this one tattooed on.
That is decidedly not the Z word hockey truck. That is a totally different hockey truck. Please, company, stay away from us.
It's an ice resurfacer. That's what it is. It just rolls off the tongue. I'm not sure if the other company that starts with an O, maybe you want to just use that name instead of the Z, as we call it up here, or Z stateside. Okay, a couple of hockey issues here with you gentlemen. And Bean, we just talked about the Edmonton Oilers. Where has the offense gone with Edmonton? Is this just a blip on the radar? Too many games last year, Stanley Cup hangover, etc. Do you have an explanation for where has the offense gone?
Well, it is October, and as our friends in Edmonton know, and our friends in LA are realizing now that they have a roster full of Edmonton Oilers, you lose games in October. It's just what happens. As for where the offense has gone, I was joking before we jumped on with you guys. Heart race right now, Jack Eichel, number 1, Jake Wallman, number 2. They missed that guy so badly. He just got activated off injured reserve, so maybe that'll go a long way in getting back to what they looked like. But I don't know, Draisaitl's had some moments. I know that he's scored goals, but he's had some moments where you're like, oh, damn, he buries that last year. Obviously, at the end of the Detroit game on Sunday, where he flubs a breakaway, which you never see happening. Connor McDavid isn't scoring goals. Andrew Mangiapane's looked really good, but a fun thing with the offense for the Oilers is every time someone scores for them, it happened with Noah Philp and it happened with Curtis Lazar. Every time someone scores, I'm going to steal the line from our friend Aaron Bordado with Oilers Nation. He gets the Jeff Skinner treatment and gets taken out of the lineup, because Chris Knobloch is just taking out wherever they're getting offense. Okay, cool. You're out now. But in all seriousness, I think that it's some Edmonton Oilers October hockey, which is usually pretty uneventful. God, they've been boring. And part of it is I think that Jake Wallman and his breakouts will be very, very welcome for this group.
And he's on his way back. Which is good news for Oilers fans. Pete, I want to ask you about Fool's Gold. What do you see right now? That's a mirage. Maybe it's the Detroit Red Wings on top of their division. Maybe it's Seattle undefeated in regulation. I don't know. Pick your poison here. What are you seeing around the NHL as Fool's Gold?
I feel like there's a lot of it. There's a lot of early season returns that you're like, this probably isn't super sustainable. But Seattle, I don't truly believe in as a team that can punch heavy the entire year. But another one too, I know they've lost 4 straight games, but my Boston Bruins, they got off to a pretty good start this season. And I like what I've seen to a certain extent, But like the big thing is that this is watchable hockey and it's enjoyable, entertaining hockey that we are now getting for Marco Sturm's Boston Bruins. And I feel like at the very least, the system and the culture is being like bought into, and these guys are playing hard and playing with pride. They're probably going to lose a lot more games, but I'm at least happy with what I've seen. Although I like pretty quickly adjusted my ceiling for the Bruins, and I was like, oh, this team might win the division with like a +10 goal differential. I don't think that's going to happen anymore, but like I still am I'm buying into Marco Sturm's Boston Bruins.
Not the best team wearing those colors, though. Speaking of fool's gold teams,
he's talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
Well,
so Pete is on board. Penguins, that is sustainable. He is not calling that fool's gold.
The Penguins are being carried by one player, and his name is Justin Breault.
Wrong. They're being carried by, they're playing the Sharks and the Kings.
Fair, yeah.
The they're just dying for a win in San Jose. But Pete, I think you mentioned something like salient to all of this. It's all a matter of expectations, right? All of not just hockey, but like all of life is managing expectations. You've heard the cliche, one man's ceiling is another man's floor. And that's why I look at the Chicago Blackhawks and say to myself, we're not in the caring about wins business yet. It feels like it's coming soon. It's more just, are the kids getting better? Like, are you guys on the same page about Chicago with me here? That there's only one question. Like we said, don't worry about the wins. Are the kids getting better?
Yeah, we said ahead of the season, like all that really mattered with the Blackhawks was progress. If you saw progress with the young kids and saw that like the vibes shifted a little bit more towards the clarity coming with the future, then that's a successful season for the Blackhawks, right? Because last year we constantly compared the Blackhawks and the Sharks, where it was like both teams were bad and they knew that they were going to be bad and they were young, but San Jose, they were having fun there, and they were losing a bunch of games. In Chicago, they were losing a ton of games, and nobody seemed happy about it. Everybody seemed like they were having a bad time. You constantly got the shots of Connor Bedard on the bench looking sad. Like, the Blackhawks now, it feels like the vibes are better than the Sharks, and maybe that's because they're winning some games, but I also think that it's just because they have more vision and clarity as to where they're headed, and it's not just Bedard. It's a lot of young guys there that look good.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be farther along than the Sharks are supposed to be right now, but as you said, like, go back to last year, how it seemed horrible in Chicago, and it seemed amazing in San Jose with their not winning anything and having slumber parties and getting to hang out with Cody Ceci. That seemed amazing, but we cautioned last year. We were like, and we talked about it on the show today, like when they traded Fabian Zetterlund, who was 25 years old, we were like, be careful with how long you want to be that young and that bad, because eventually you're going to get used to losing and things aren't going to be fun there. And I don't know, like right now it's crazy. I look at what the Blackhawks are doing and I look at what the Sharks are doing and I'm like, damn, wouldn't you rather be the Blackhawks right now? Because there might not be as many like tippity top, like 1, 2, 3 overall pick type players there, but they're a little further along and they've at least gotten to a point where they're like, we must improve game to game, night to night, season to season. And the Sharks still, they're going to be a lot of fun at some point, but they really still feel like they're at square zero, and they have been for like 3 years now.
You're so right about, first of all, how difficult scorched earth rebuilds are and how painful they are, like agonizing through all of it. And the byproduct of it is, not only are kids in a losing culture, but they don't know what it feels like, what a full game feels like. Like when you're on a team where the game's over by halfway through the second, you don't really get the feeling of what a real full game is. Or if you're out of the playoffs, in late November, you don't get the real feeling of what a real season feels like. Like that's why, whenever I hear fans talk about, oh, my team's not going to make the playoffs, it's just tear the whole thing down, start up with all kids. I'm like, don't. It sounds like the easy default setting to lean back on. It's painful and it does a lot of damage. And you think what'll take 3 years could end up taking 7.
And that's just to get to the playoffs. Like
that's just to get to the playoffs.
So many
that's not even to win a game.
Right. Like when you arrive to the playoffs, it's like a few more years beyond that, because
Senators last year,
you need to learn how to play playoff hockey and how to lose in the playoffs before you learn how to win in the playoffs. It's just how it works. And when I look at the Sharks, like this point was brought up by, I believe, a chatter on our show today. Like the Sharks have really nobody in their group that they're building around on defense, whereas Chicago has
Dickinson.
Oh,
yeah, I
geez.
suppose.
A ton.
Yeah, but Chicago's got like a ton. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
And they're all like 6'7". So
Yeah,
they're
they're
massive
huge.
blue line that we've ever seen. It's like the Philadelphia Flyers blue line from 1995. It's just like massive back there, and the guys can really move too. And Sam Rinzel is going to be a low key candidate for the Calder. It's impressive. Let me close on a positive note here. What do you guys make? I've described Carolina as an acquired taste, right? Like not everybody loves the way that they play. I like it because when there are turnovers, they play that man-to-man. The minute you see a turnover, all of a sudden ice appears. We're so used to zone this, that all the ice is clogged up. When you play man-to-man and the puck turns over, you can actually take a few strides out there. So I think that's kind of cool. But what do you make of the Carolina Hurricanes and their perfect start?
I mean, I kind of want it to go forever, but they're sort of where the Jets were last year, where you're like, okay, we think we've gotten the picture with what happens with you guys. We know what your story is, so we're going to watch you in the regular season and we're going to enjoy it, but we're not going to really make a grand statement until you do the thing you haven't been able to do in the playoffs, which for the Hurricanes, it's unfair to compare them to the Jets because the Hurricanes keep going almost all the way and then they run into a wall, but this is the best served and best suited they are to make a run. So like if they get the top seed in the Atlantic, I mean, I'm kind of doing the math here based on where the standings are right now, but like you're going to have an easier road than you probably would have in years past because the world beaters right now, like the Panthers especially, don't look like they're going to be the Panthers. So I think they've got an easier road and a better roster than they have the last couple of years. So I'm totally a believer in them.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that they made like the big trade with Dallas last year because I feel like Carolina and Dallas are kind of like the same team in different conferences where they just keep hitting that wall in the conference final. And like if you tell me they tear up the league during the regular season, 100% absolutely believe you. I'm not shocked at all. It's just, will it matter like in the spring? And like that's not to say that these teams don't show up in the spring. It's just they just keep running into this wall where they find a team that's better. And so like I need to see something that really, really convinces me that Carolina has taken that massive step forward and is playing in a little bit of a different way. And I just don't know if we're going to see that in the regular season.
What I'll say though is like, I wonder if last year's Hurricanes team dealt with this year's Eastern Conference, like, do they maybe get to the Stanley Cup final? Like
maybe.
And that shows how close it all is, but through 2 weeks of the season, who in the Eastern Conference is saying to you like, well, that's going to be what shuts that down? I would say the Maple Leafs, but I don't know. And we could say the Canadians with how fun it is that they win all these games, but at some point they're going to lose a bunch of close games. So like there isn't a team right now, and you could say it's Detroit, and I'd say maybe not quite yet. I kind of think, and I'll look stupid for this, but like, I kind of think it might be as simple as the Hurricanes are for sure the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Let me close on this. Brad Marchand, Rasmus Dahlin, the helmet in the penalty box, tearing off the ear loops. Was that Brad Marchand pissed off at Rasmus Dahlin, or was that Brad Marchand and the Florida Panthers frustrated at what is happening to this team right now?
Oh, that's great. I mean, historically, when he does stuff like that, it is him pissed off at that one moment and he just sees red and he goes nuts. So based on history, I'll say that.
I don't think that's what it is.
But damn, he did a good enough job. Like we had him on the show last year when he was at the Bruins. He did a good enough job keeping a poker face through the Bruins struggles. Obviously, his role there is a captain, so he's kind of got to be the spokesperson. But I didn't even consider, like, it's a good other possibility you bring up, which is like, oh boy, we could be in for a long season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a little bit of A, a little bit of B. Like, I don't think that Brad Marchand is probably the biggest fan of Rasmus Dahlin, and it probably goes both ways. But I think that to see him lose it to that degree also, and like I think that maybe it's just him trying to light a spark under his team, and while they're losing to the Buffalo Sabres in the second period, like maybe just fire the boys up and see if that provides a spark. But yeah, I bet that Marchand is probably not super thrilled with the way this thing is going right now.
Most fun part about that, Marek, if he got fined $5,000, the maximum allowable under the collective bargaining agreement.
Yes.
If he got suspended for that, tomorrow's his homecoming against the Bruins. How perfect would that have been if Brad Marchand got himself suspended for his return to Boston? The same guy who got suspended the first time he was given an A and he cheap-shotted Mark Borowiecki and got suspended for the Winter Classic. How perfectly Brad Marchand would that be to miss his own party because he just got a little too pissed off at Rasmus Dahlin and had to take it out on the Warrior lid?
Love it. And they say this sport has no poetry. It would have been certainly wonderful. Listen, on that, we're gonna let you guys go. Thanks so much, as always, for stopping by. Congratulations. I know I speak on behalf of everybody here. Just thrilled to have What Chaos and the Ice Resurfacing Dog logo as part of the Nation Network and Daily Faceoff mix. Thanks, boys. Be good. We'll be calling often.
Thank you.
You're the best. Thanks, buddy.
There he is, DJ Bean and Pete Blackburn, the power duo, not to be confused with the Impact Players, but the power duo that is the What Chaos program. Thrilled to have him aboard, Zacharu. Thrilled to have him aboard.
Yeah, those guys I'm big fans of. I watched their show last year, especially all year, like leading into our show earlier in the day, basically bouncing from Morning Cup of Hockey to Leafs Morning Take to that one. It's something I've always got going on in the background as I'm prepping for our show. So to hear that they're coming over, it's awesome. Now, the only thing, and I forgot to text him about this, my brain broke when I was happy for Pete when I saw that he was in the Amazon Prime doc, but I was like, there was part of me that wanted to like jump out of my skin when I knew it was a Bruins fan who was narrating the Leafs downfall. Like that was sickening. That was sickening.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Sorry, suck it up, man. Too bad.
But very excited to have them a part of the team. I love those guys. I love their show.
Yep. Every day at noon Eastern. It is appointment video. You got to watch it. Those two guys are fantastic. And I would imagine that's not the only content they'll be doing here at Daily Faceoff. And I would imagine as well that every show will want to get themselves a piece of the What Chaos guys. So hope you signed up for, boys, because you're going to be everywhere because they're just that good. All right. Time for Crave the Stats. Crave the Stats, a presentation of Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. What do we have today in what's quickly become my favorite segment here?
Yeah, 3 here, and we're going to throw this one back to the 60s into 71. Jeff, we've got starting in 1963 on October 20th. Phil Goyette set a franchise record for the New York Rangers with 4 assists in 1 period. That one came against the Boston Bruins in a 5-1 victory. In 1971, the Minnesota North Stars set a team record with 57 shots on goal in a 7-0 win over Vancouver. Cesar Maniago records his 17th shutout. And in 1971, Bobby Orr scored a goal and added 2 assists to reach 400 career points in his 333rd NHL game in a 4-3 win over Detroit.
I always talk about lost rivalries that have been lost to the annals of time. We think about the Detroit Red Wings and the Montreal Canadiens. I'll always cite the Rocket Richard riots. That was at a Detroit Montreal game. We think famously of Patrick Waugh's final night in the Forum, where he was, to put it politely, he was hard to hit that night, and Detroit was just firing beach balls through Patrick Waugh. That rivalry's been lost to history. The other great one that's been lost to history is Boston and New York, to the point where, And you can quibble amongst yourselves whether the NHL should have a trophy named after this person, but here we go. The New York Rangers Boston Bruins rivalry was as intense as any rivalry was in the mid 60s to the early 70s. I've always maintained that Rangers team is the best team to not win a Stanley Cup. There should have been at least one cup for those Rangers teams. There were 0, but think about this one. Would it surprise you, considering my previous point earlier in the show about half the league should be in jail at certain times of hockey history, that William Jennings, the president of the New York Rangers in that era, let's just call it for the sake of this segment, the Phil Goyette era, put a bounty on the head of Ted Green of the Boston Bruins, the president of the Rangers, putting a bounty on the head of should the NHL have a trophy named after someone who put a bounty on another man's head? I know we like to pride ourselves on being tough, but bounty might be a line.
Yeah, the NFL seemed to be able to get over it. I think it was Sean Payton not too long ago. He got kicked out. He did that. Then all of a sudden there's a movie made about him. He's welcomed back into the league. So, I don't know. What's the saying for, when you move past something, you forgive and forget? I don't know.
Forgive and forget, man.
Yeah.
Turn the page, no rearview mirror.
Yeah, who cares? Just keep it moving. It was a different time, as you said. Everybody should have been in jail, so we move on. We embrace history in the NHL here. We embrace the history.
Not here to judge anything that any player, or in this case, any executive may have done.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
I
just thought these are some fun ones.
Trophy named after. Anyhow, all right. A couple of games on the go around the NHL this evening. The sheet is powered by FanDuel. Play your game with FanDuel. It's the NHL season, and FanDuel is your home for all the action on the ice. From Blue Line to Bet Slip, we've got you covered all season with unique promos, live offerings, and more features to let you play your game. Miss puck drop, no sweat. With a live same-game parlay, you can build your bets up until the final buzzer. Download FanDuel Sportsbook today and play your game. Please play responsibly, 18 plus, and physically located in Ontario. If you have questions or concerns about your gambling or the gambling of someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. What are you serving up tonight, Zach?
5 games on the NHL tonight, bouncing around. We're looking Minnesota at the Rangers. The Kraken are playing against the Flyers tonight. Sabres against the Habs, and the Jets, Flames, and Hurricanes, Golden Knights. Couple that stand out to me, which I think starting the season I wouldn't. Yeah, that one I would have had circled. One of the ones that I wouldn't have that I am intrigued by tonight, Seattle, Philly. That one is interesting. I like Seattle. I'm not going to say they look incredible, but they look good, and I wasn't expecting this. I do think they regress a little bit, but they're kind of fun right now. Yanni Nyman, as we talked about the other day, you bring up Berkeley Catton. Now you're all of a sudden looking at younger guys in there.
How about
been years?
How about what Shane Wright did to your Leafies on Saturday?
I blocked that out of my mind. I went to the Jays game last night. I saw that one. I'm going to the Jays game tonight. I have no idea what's happening in any other Toronto sports. It's just that's it. That's all that matters. The Blue Jays right now. Yeah.
Well, I can assure you.
I don't know what other Blue
Shane Wright had a really good game against the team in the center of the hockey universe. Let's just put it that way. And you got the goaltender lipping off about it now. Anyhow, look for that. And I mentioned Berkeley Catton, first-round draft pick, Seattle Kraken, makes his debut in an NHL uniform tonight, and that Carolina Hurricanes, a perfect 5-0 to kick off the season, put it on the line tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights, who are down Mark Stone. I always look at the innocent-looking injuries as the ones that are more severe. When you look at the Mark Stone injury, he just fell down, and didn't look like much, or if anything at all. And now is big question marks about Mark Stone, who's just playing such good hockey on a line with Barbashev and Jack Eichel. That sucks for them, but no one's going to cry. They've got enough firepower, including the quietest 30-goal scorer in the NHL. Let's all say it together, Pavel Dorofeev. And that will wrap things up. Thanks so much for stopping by the show today. Thanks to everybody here at Monumental and the Washington Capitals for hosting us and making it possible in this amazing podcast kit they have in a suitcase here. It really is something. So thanks to the whole crew here at Monumental and the Washington Capitals for making this work. Thanks to Spencer Carbery, head coach of the Caps, for stopping by the program today. Really enjoyed that conversation, as did I enjoyed the conversation with the guys from What Chaos, newly aboard, newly minted property here at the Nation Network and Daily Faceoff. Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean, welcome aboard officially. Thanks to you for watching. Thanks to you for listening. Don't forget to tip your Zamboni driver on the way out. Thanks for the buns and the use of the hall. The show returns tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern, right here on the sheet. Jeff Marek along with you. I hope you enjoyed the program today. If you did, or maybe even if you didn't, they can't all be gems, folks. Please hit the subscribe button. Also a reminder, every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, Johnny Lazarus, Colby Cohen, I call them the Impact Players. You might know them as a tandem that makes up the Morning Cup of Hockey. Also DFO Live at noon Eastern. This year, your host Tyler Yaremchuk alongside Carter Hutton. Full day's worth of programming right here on Daily Faceoff, your favorite YouTube hockey channel. And as a reminder as well, Zach Phillips, our producer here for the sheet, said if you subscribe, he'll buy you a puppy. It's true.